Hello, 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 hello. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am so excited. It's Dr. Prandhara Prem here. I'm excited to have the goddess daughter of joy, Adina Getting Smith, here with me today. It's going to be exciting. She's an amazing belly dancer, healing through her moves. I'm so excited. So, without further ado, I'm going to have Adina come on and introduce herself. Welcome.
Yay! Thank you for that amazing introduction. Thank you, Mama.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm so excited to have you here. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. So, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, who you are.
Well, I love your introduction. One of my names is Adito Lala, which means great goddess, daughter of joy. So when you said the goddess of joy, I was like, yes, 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 yes. She was pulling on my Adito Lala designation. But as
Yes.
Dr. Prandhara Prem has said, my name is Adina Gittin Smith. I call myself the goddess of magical movement. I
Ooh.
am the founder of Goddess Technology and the co founder of Belly Dancers of Color Collective. What that means is I am a goddess in service to the feminine, been in service to the feminine a long time, the feminine spirit within myself, and that which in my sisters and my brothers who are open to the divine feminine and dancing and playing in that.
Yes, I love it. I love it. I love it. And so, that's so beautiful because dancing movement is healing.
It is.
Right? Stepping into that goddess energy, that feminine energy is just such a beautiful thing. Um, so welcome, welcome, welcome. And for those of you who are new and not familiar with Adina, please go ahead and follow her on IG at Adina 1000, Facebook Adina Gittens Smith, or her website, any of her websites, or YouTube Adina 10,000. Yes. And so you got to check out her YouTube. I was a guest on her YouTube as well. And it was an amazing, amazing, amazing podcast.
We did
So,
have an amazing podcast. That was one of my favorite. So much
oh,
fun.
oh, good. It was a lot of fun. And I'm so excited to have you here now. So, great. Let's get into it. So,
Okay.
tell me, how did you get into this? How did you get into dance, into movement?
Well, one of the first, I tell people this, when you're in your mother's womb and you're just a little zygote, the first language is movement.
Mhm.
Okay? The cells in your body or your father's body moved into the cells of your mother's body, and then your cells started moving and creating and dividing and multiplying, creating this masterpiece that your spirit has the distinct pleasure to sit in right now. So I will say
Mhm.
I've been moving since before I was Adina. Movement is my first language.
Wow.
And as it pertains to dance specifically, because you think of yourself as a mother, I'm a mother, I have 3 grown sons. When you first feel that movement of the baby in your womb, that's exciting. That's exciting. And so, movement, my own movement, movement of my children, movement of my sisters, has always excited me. As a little girl, I grew up in Chicago. Well, I was born in Chicago. Let me be real specific because I grew up on the East Coast. And when I go back to Chicago, they're like, "You're not from here."
That's how they
But
do me in New York. They're like, "You're not
yeah,
from here."
you ain't
I was
from
born in
here.
New York, but
Yes, just because you ain't go to high school there, you ain't from there. But no, I was born in
right.
Chicago. I raised in the D.C. area. But back when we still lived in Chicago, my mother, my grandmother have always been patron of the arts. She always exposed us. Both of them exposed me and my cousins to the arts. And I remember one of my earliest remembrances of going to the ballet actually was to see the Nutcracker. And
Oh,
I was just in awe of how pretty the stage was and the dancers and the whole majesty of it all. I was entranced as a little girl. I can remember this. It was at McCormick Place, okay? I don't even know if that still exists in Chicago, but used to go there. But the thing about it is everyone on stage was not melanated, was completely unmelanated. And if
mhm.
anybody knows anything about Chicago, especially in the 70s, was very segregated. I didn't even really see people who didn't look like me
Oh,
in my
wow.
everyday life. I would see people who didn't look like me when I went to the theater or if we were downtown or on TV. So initially I was thinking, well, can we do this? You know, like, is this something we do? It's like, no, dance is ours. Dance is ours. I have an African father. We always danced around the
Mhm.
home and things like that. So because of my experience with the ballet, I was put into dance class. I had the privilege and opportunity to take dance class as a young girl, and it was the delight of my heart to dance as a little girl. I love the stage. I always love the stage. So that's how I got to dance, was being awestruck by the actual production of it all, growing up in a family that was very rich with culture and music and movement, and then getting the opportunity to actually take classes and to get into the art form myself. And I've done that really my whole life through, continuing on and on and on.
And I could see your presence. I could see you commanding the stage as well. Like you just have a great, like powerful goddess presence,
Well,
and the
thank you.
joy just seeps out. Like, and it's so funny you say that because similar. I was born in New York, but I didn't go to high school in New York. I went to high school in Florida. But that was one of the things that we did, field trips. We went to see the Nutcracker. And that's the same for me, like just seeing opposite in the sense of growing up in New York and Brooklyn, everyone looked like me.
Okay.
So in Brooklyn, it was all Black, Caribbean, Latino people. I didn't even see white people, right? It's still like I moved to Florida. Well, when I went to see the Nutcracker, that was a little, that was a little bit more mixed. Like, I had everyone there. So I shouldn't say I hadn't seen white people until I moved to Florida, but I was used to being around people that looked like me, melanated people. Um, but so similar, when I saw Nutcracker, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. You know, I I too, I'm like, ooh, I love this. I want to dance. And just being at that time, well, so actually interesting, I was actually doing dance. I was doing African dance. So in New York, we would have African dance, and I did that, and I loved it. And the Nutcracker was just different. So it was like it was something that I always loved dance. And then when I moved to Florida, it was almost like a huge depression because I moved to now a segregated area, and not too many people looked like me. And we didn't have African dance in schools.
Okay.
And so it was like, oh my God. But we had musicals. So I ended up joining the drama club
Okay.
and doing the musicals and acting and things like that. And so then that kind of led me into wanting to become an actress
Okay.
and a dancer and maybe doing musicals. But it was like growing up in a Haitian family, they're like, you can't make money in that. You can't do that. You have to have a career. And I'm like, but that's what
Yes.
I want to do.
Yes.
So, but I also grew up playing the piano. So even in Brooklyn, I was doing piano lessons. So I was always into the musical arts, right? Um, but then, so I ended up when I went to college minoring in theater and majoring in
Okay.
psychology.
Okay.
So
Where did you go to college?
Florida State,
Okay. Okay.
because we moved to Florida, so then I ended up going to Florida State and minored in theater, majored in psychology. And then as soon as I graduated, I was like, I got to leave Florida. And that's when I went to the DC area.
Okay.
And so going to the DC area, I found belly dance.
Yes.
'Cause
Yes.
I had never done belly dance. I did the African dance, musicals, things like that. And then my church in DC, I ended up being in the drama ministry and a dance ministry.
What church?
My father's house Christian church. It's
Okay.
a non-denominational church in
Okay.
Virginia, in
Okay.
Northern Virginia. And was it in Alexandria? I think it was in Alexandria.
Okay. I grew up in Alexandria. That's why I asked.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think it was in Alexandria
Okay.
or like somewhere around Lorton. I don't know. Somewhere, I think it
Okay.
was Alexandria. I just remember I lived in Maryland in Montgomery County and I would drive like an hour to get there.
Wow.
As if there wasn't one closer to me. But anyway, so that was beautiful. And belly dance, it was a way for me to even tap more into my feminine energy because even though I love dance, I had a lot of masculine energy.
Understandably so. Yeah.
Yeah. So for you, do you feel like how do you feel like with the belly dance? Did you see it helping you tap more into that feminine goddess energy?
Okay. Well, like you, I also danced all through high school and
Mhm.
all through college and was in several companies. I was in a company as a young person called the DC Youth Ensemble where
Mm.
we danced and acted and sung, it was a whole production thing. And then in college, I went to Hampton University and our dance company was called the Terpsichorean. And then years as an adult, different dance companies, local.
Mhm.
But one thing that I knew about dance was or how what I was told is that I didn't have a dancer's body, and this was in the
Mm.
ballet arenas. It's like, oh, you're too this, you're too that, you're too that. Like you're too short, your butt's too big, you got too much boobs, you're too this. I
Mhm.
just felt, and not even felt, it was said back in the day. It was said these things. Folks weren't as culturally sensitive or sensitive to diversity in the way dancers were, and these are black dance teachers because you think about, yeah, you think about and it
Crazy.
wasn't just black, but they were trained by folks who gave them a standard and they kind of stuck to that standard, if you get what I'm saying.
Mhm.
So a lot of times I felt like I was dancing in spite of what they say a dancer's supposed to look like or be like or that kind of thing, because dance was always in my heart and soul. It was something that is a medicine of mine, something that is
Mhm.
a language of mine. So I danced in spite of that. How I got to belly dance, it was as an adult. I was in my mid 30s when I found belly dance. One
Mhm.
thing I loved about the first studio I went to, and you and I both started in the same studio, Mamacita, which
Yeah.
was in DC, and a few years
Tacoma,
ago.
California. Yeah.
At
Yes.
this point, it was a few years ago. What this teacher said to me on my very first class was, "Come as you are."
Yes.
And in that moment, all my years of dancing, coming as I was, but feeling like how I was wasn't right, it healed in that very first class to have a teacher tell me, "Come as you are." I just was like, wow, this dance embraces you right where you are. You're not too big, where you'll say,
Exactly.
other dancers will say, you're too this, you're too that. Like I was the biggest dancer in my class back in the day, and I was a size 4. I thought I was huge. I had no idea of what a regular body size was until I got around people who weren't dancers. Like, oh,
Mhm.
I'm not actually huge. And guys who don't know me, I'm 5'1.5".
Mhm.
So I'm not a huge tall person, you know what I mean?
Right.
So
That's
just
my
in
height.
general, yeah, and the package is like, ooh, and I was the biggest one. So but to have her tell me, "Come as you are." And at this point I was a mother of 3 sons. They were young. My youngest was maybe 2 at the time.
Mm,
So
wow.
all the changes our bodies go through when we're having babies, big, small, everything in between, nursing, all the things that motherhood is all about, all of the body insecurities, all of these feelings, and to have this woman tell me, "Come as you are," I was like, wow. I was struck. Now,
Yes.
part of the beauty of dancing with her over the next 10 years was the blooming into my goddess self, was the
Mhm.
understanding of the joy of the mother, and to be the temptress or the lover or the coquettish energy, and to be the visionary and the creative, and let your spirit soar. Like all the things I experienced with myself on the dance floor, that was really a beautiful awakening and blooming that still had at the soul of it dance. Belly
Mhm.
dance, I came to learn, is the longest continuous art form. Belly dance came from women moving their bodies in nature, imitating the wind, playing with each other, having fun. They're meant to be sensual and playful, and yes, so the divine feminine is awakened as that kundalini is tickled, and you just start to feel the joy of your own boobies bounce. Like all of
Yes.
that is truly celebrated, and so that really was the deepening of my understanding of myself and my sisters as actual goddesses upon this planet. So to the world, we say, y'all welcome.
Yes. I love it. I love it. And it's interesting you brought up the Kundalini because, when I started doing the belly dance, I hadn't studied tantra or anything, but our teacher at Mamacita, Dr. Amen, also had Kundalini yoga there. right? And I never took it because me being the psychotherapist, I was very much like, let me, and a Virgo,
Very linear in this
very
moment, right?
linear, right? I would research everything. And so I'm researching stuff, and it's like, oh, Kundalini, if you awaken it, you can go crazy. All this could happen, this could happen. And I'm just like afraid. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to shy away from the Kundalini yoga, but let me do the belly dance because I could feel it. Like I could feel joy coming into my body. I could feel without even knowing what was happening. But like you said, I was connecting to the elements, right? I was a city girl. I grew up in the city,
Right, on that concrete.
Brooklyn, that concrete jungle,
Yes.
right? And so this, and also me being the baby, right? There was five of us. Five. I have four siblings. Five of us. I was the baby, and so I didn't really have a voice. I
Okay.
didn't really have, you know. And growing up in a family, kids are to be seen, not heard. And my siblings, way older than me, I'm looking to them, for everything. So dance, I found my freedom. I found my voice through movement. I was able to find out who I am and step into my body, right? And really just embody healing. And at the studio, she had like so many different things like herbs and things like that. Like it really literally opened me up to a whole nother world
That's beautiful.
of healing, right? And it was just, if I could go back, I would have even started sooner. But everything happens as it's supposed to, right?
It does. It served
Um,
its purpose. It was a powerful catalyst for you as well.
it truly was. And so later, when I moved to Brazil, I, went to Brazil, had dance studios and things like that because Brazil is very much into dance.
Yes.
And one of the things I took belly dance there as well. I took Afro Brazilian dance,
I
and I
love
came
Afro
alive.
Brazilian dance. It is so much fun.
Yes, so
Oh
much
my
fun.
goodness.
And I came alive. And
Yes.
that is part of why I started doing retreats in Brazil. And I imagine you too, because you do retreats in Bali, and I want you to talk about that as well. But I started doing retreats in Brazil so that women of color can come alive, so that they can experience the movement, the healing, right? That Afro Brazilian culture. We do the Afro Brazilian dance, we move, it's so healing. And so, before I ask you to talk about your retreat, I also want to say at some point, before I got into the dance in Brazil, my very first year, I was having bleeding, like heavy bleeding, spotting in between cycles. Then my cycle would last like 8 days, and I'm changing every 2 hours. And so I'm like, let me go to the doctor because I had been backpacking through South America. So I get to the doctor, barely speaking Portuguese, right? But I was speaking some Spanish. And the doctors are like, you have fibroids, and they're huge fibroids. We suggest doing surgery.
Oh my goodness.
Now, I just moved to Brazil, don't really speak that much Portuguese. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to have surgery because maybe I think they're saying they're just going to remove the fibroids, but next thing you know, they're going to remove everything and I'm going to have a whole hysterectomy.
Oh no.
So,
No.
right. Like, so I'm like, what else can I do? And then a friend of mine gave me Queen Afua's book, Sacred Woman.
Oh yes. Beautiful book.
And so I read the book and she had the womb movement. And then that was like, wait a minute, you were doing dance before, but I had stopped, right, for some time and I'm eating all kinds of stuff, you know. So reading the book, it was like, all right, let me cut out meat, let me cut out dairy, let me cut out the stuff that causes the mucus to grow. Let me do this womb movement, which reminded me of the belly dance and the African dance that I used to do as a kid. So that's when I started doing the Afro Brazilian dance and got back into belly dance.
I love that.
Changed my diet. The fibroids began to shrink. I no longer needed to do surgery.
See, and they were going to cut stuff out of your body, and all you needed to do was move your body. There
Exactly.
is medicine in this movement. And
Yes.
not just for your womb, for your whole entire body, physical body, light body, quantum body, all your bodies.
Yes. Yes.
I'm glad you did that.
Thank you. You know, and so I always tell people we have to be advocates of our health. We have to take our health into our own hands,
We do.
right? Because, there's nothing wrong with the Western world of Western medicine. It has a place. But because they haven't studied these other things, they can't tell you, do this instead. And let's also be real. This is how they're making their money,
But they're not
right?
designed to do that. Like you said, it's how they make their money, but they're not designed to tell you how to heal your body naturally because
Mm-mm.
then they'll be out of business. That's our job. That's
That's
what we
our
do.
job.
Yes, to
And
tell the story of how to heal ourselves.
and when I went back to my gynecologist and she did the testing, she was like, "Oh, the ultrasound must have been wrong." No, it
It's the
wasn't wrong.
machine. Yeah, the
But
machine
yeah, right,
malfunction.
no, right.
You were
And,
going to
and
take somebody actual stuff out and you think it's
right.
wrong. Yeah, okay.
And I was like, "No, I did natural stuff." But not once did she ask me, "Well, what did you do?" Because she didn't care about that.
Nope.
Right? Because that didn't serve her line of work. So it's like, and this would be any doctor. Even now, I came back to the States. I had another doctor wanted to have surgery, and I'm like, nope. And they're like, well, this, and this. I still recommend, nope. But they're not asking, well, what are you doing? What are you using? What are you taking?
They just
You
said,
know,
we just lost one. Lost one more customer.
right. You just lost one.
Yeah. Yes.
Right? Um, so tell me, what made you decide to start doing retreats? So like for me, that's why what I said, like I wanted to like, have women experience these things and heal. And so for you, um, and why Bali? What made you
Okay.
decide to start doing retreats? How did you get into that? And why Bali?
Okay, thank you for that question. So, the
Mhm.
goddess technology movement was birthed through me during COVID, when we were
Mhm.
all in little cocoons, really. And Spirit was speaking to me in terms of what my next iteration was to be. And Goddess technology is what came out. So it's not new, it's really old, and it's just waking up the remembrance of our power, innate power, like you just said, to heal our bodies and heal our lives and heal our families and to move on. So, what was endemic for me to do first is heal myself, work on my situation. And so, in doing that, so in 2020, I'm visioning out places that I want to go because, much like you, I'm a world traveler as well. I love going places. And I saw a picture of this woman in this beautiful floral bath in Bali. Bali does such amazing flower technology. They do so many things with these flowers. She was just bathing in these flowers. And so I put it on literally on my vision board. My meditation room is a whole collage and vision board. So I put that picture up and I said, I'm going to Bali and I'm going to bathe in those flowers. That's what I told myself in 2020. And then as it developed, I was like, well, I'm going to have a girls trip in Bali. It developed from just me going to bringing the girls because I love, how Oprah likes to share all of her favorite things with her favorite people. I'm much like that too. I want to share the love with those that I love. What developed over time was, again, in me understanding feminine energy, diving deeper in my own personal healing, and then my sisters asking me about it, like, well, what's that? Or help me with that. Or I want to do, because as your light grows, people come to the light. And so those coming to the light to say, I'd like to learn more about. It's like, okay, well, we can set up classes because this is beyond the scope of belly dance too. It was where things bloomed, but it bloomed to a bigger thing that really touches all of our lives. And so it grew into a class. I had a class called Goddess Gathering last year, and that will come back next year. But Goddess Gathering as a class, we met every Thursday. We talked about the cycles of the sun and the moon and different aspects of femininity. What is feminine power? What does that mean? We didn't grow up, I know I didn't grow up knowing that. We were growing up, especially little black girl, thinking that you're at the bottom of the hierarchy of the world, which I always felt like that don't even make sense. I didn't feel aligned with that, but that's what we were told. And so to understand what it actually is and who you actually are was a blooming piece. So, one thing that I know that is a hindrance is just our daily lives. Everyone's tired, you got all of these responsibilities from work to kids to um, laundry to fixing a car, all of these things. And so the retreat aspect was just to move us out of our everyday life, put us in a place that's of a high vibration where the place even supports our unfolding and our opening of our intuition. Bali as a spiritual center, and there are other places in the world that also exemplify a lot of this power, like Egypt and India and different places like that, places in Brazil. Any place can be a bastion of restorativeness if you put the energy around it. One thing I love about Bali is the culture is so devotional, you can't help but feel it. Even if you're trying not to feel it, you're going to feel it just by being there. So to take women there, to understand that we are flowers in a beautiful garden, and to have time to just be cared for, to nurture ourselves, sacred rest, and to really open ourselves up into our intuition, and to dance and to learn about goddess culture and what femininity actually is, to soften into that. It's hard to do that when you got so many things upon you. So that's where the retreat aspect came from. Is like I would like to offer this opportunity, and it's not just a girls trip. It's and I love girls trips.
Hmm.
It's the ultimate girls trip. It's a girls trip with a serious agenda that you come back elevated and ready to go in whichever direction your heart and soul takes you, because you've cleared some things out of the way and you've nurtured and loved yourself, and you remember a little bit more of who you actually are and what your magic is. So we took 20 women to Bali last year. It was amazing. We're doing it again in 2025, the last week of July and the first week of August. I have a few spots. I have 4 spots that are available, and we actually have a sale going on. So
Oh,
those who are
wow.
interested can DM me to get the sale rate, and come on to Bali with us. Come on and really give yourself a chance. Put yourself at the top of your list, like you've done everything else, your whole entire life. This is an opportunity for us to really love upon ourselves. So that's how I got into it, because I had that experience too. I was
Yes.
able to go to Tulum with one of my sisters and really deepen into the goddess understanding, and it just was beautiful. I'm like, oh, I would love to have women feel this way too. When you feel it, you're like, this is how we're supposed to feel. You can't
Yes.
access it if you've never felt it. So feel it, and then you know how to get back there. It's like home. It's like, oh, I was at home before. I know what that feels like. And it's not a place, it's inside myself. I know how to bloom it inside me. So that's what it's about.
Yes. And there's just so much need of these retreats, these spiritual journeys for women of color, because there's not enough out there.
Yeah, I
Not
agree.
enough.
I
Yes.
agree.
So,
Because you see the other sisters out there doing their thing, and you don't always want to be the only one there. You know what I mean? Like
right.
sometimes it's like, we've done that too. But it's nice to be in a place where you are just understood, and you don't even have to say anything. It's just a level of understanding, deep love and understanding.
Exactly. And so if you want to go to Bali,
Holla at your
get
girl.
holla at your girl, bit.ly// goddess technology retreat Bali too. And then you got
Yes.
the information up there for everything to keep in contact with her. Awesome. Yeah. And I totally understand that. Like, let me tell you. So I love Bali and Tulum as well, and Thailand. So for me, I've done a retreat in Mexico, in Tulum, and Playa del Carmen, and Brazil. And so I do. My goal is to do 4 retreats a year, and so I do want to have them in Mexico, Brazil, Bali, and Thailand and Chiang Mai,
Okay.
um, specifically. So yeah, yeah, and at some point, maybe I might go up to 5 and just do
Okay.
Jamaica as well, or just rotate,
Mm-hmm.
because all of those places has just been like just amazing, amazing, amazing energy. So
Agreed. That's my goal as well. Like with Goddess Technology, this is my third year. So first year was the school, the second year was the first retreat, and now this is the third retreat. But to have at least 4 going to different places too,
yes.
because Bali is far from where we are here in the U.S.
Mhm.
It's a pretty long ride, and that's really the hardest part is just getting there. And you don't
Yes, I
have to
think
flap
so.
your wings and get there, but let the plane take you.
Right.
Endure the trip, and then it's worth it once you get there. It really is worth it.
It
So
is. It
we
is.
can do, I would love for us to do some type of collaboration or something together, since we are so aligned with these experiences. That would be awesome.
That would be awesome. I would love that. Look at this. Look
Look
at
at us.
this.
Look at us coming
Goddess
up with
energy in the
stuff.
making. And we have so much in common. So
We do.
it's yeah, yeah. I love it. I love it. I love it. And it's also good when you have someone because like running a retreat is a lot of work. It's a
It
lot of
is.
energy.
It is.
And so people don't realize like just holding space for so many people. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Like I absolutely, absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. So yeah,
Yeah, it does require to be able to hold a lot of energy and to you're a conduit. That's how I saw myself. Like in Reiki, you're a
yeah.
conduit for the energy flowing through and coming up and in and out and all of that kind of thing. So, yeah, after running retreats, I do need at least 2 weeks to just kind of recalibrate myself.
Exactly, right? And just recharge. Oh, so do you what's the connection in your point of view between like belly dance and ancestral wisdom or divine feminine wisdom? And I know I'm going into belly dance, but I am going to go into other stuff. I do want to know some other stuff too. I want to get into the kundalini and tantric kind of energy too, but I'm curious, what do you like what is your how do you see that connection between belly dance or just movement I should say and ancestral or divine wisdom?
Well, the movement, the body is an important tool that we all have, and the body holds the memory.
Mhm.
Oftentimes when the mind can't remember, the body always does. And
Mhm.
as we start to trust our bodies and honor our bodies and love our bodies and listen to our bodies, really creativity just flourishes. It flourishes, and so does healing. It is a really wonderful thing to somatically move your body, which is
Mhm.
moving without a specific goal. And I'm not speaking of choreography or anything like that, but if your body wants to sway, let it sway.
Mhm.
Oftentimes in school, we were told, sit still, stop moving, stop twitching. I was one of those that was told that, but then I would tap my foot. You know what I mean? Someplace they couldn't see, or I'll tap my finger. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's just the body needs a medium really the body's the medium for our spirit. And so
Mhm.
as we're moving, and if you're thinking that we are actually our ancestors are speaking and living through us. How do they talk to us? They talk to us in our thoughts, they talk to us in our movements, they talk to us through our downloads and things like
Mhm.
that. So the body is very important. So we mentioned kundalini again. When you're pumping your hips and moving your torso in ways where you can actually lift and rise energy, you can shift your whole mood by dancing. You will release positive endorphins. Your body is able to breathe differently. You get your heart rate up. It is just so good on so many levels. I remember when my sons were little, and if I had to miss belly dancing, my youngest son would be like, "Oh no, she didn't go to body dancing." It was much better when I went to body dancing for everybody, me
Right.
and them. And so, ladies, you gotta give yourself permission to be.
Mhm.
That was one of my biggest I, my biggest critiques of how I danced before is that there was a lot of constriction. And I do understand in certain
Mhm.
dance forms they're trying to have a certain technique, and belly dance has a technique as well. My thing is the technique should not excommunicate certain body types, because literally all bodies dance. I've
Right.
had people in my dance class in wheelchairs, and so you dance from the waist up. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? If all you got is a head and neck, then dance with the head and neck. If all you got is
Right.
the eyelash, then dance with the eye. And so it's
Yeah.
just moving in accordance with your spirit, and that is ancestors speak. When I'm
Yeah.
teaching my students, I tell them Tell a story. What story are you telling with your body right now? Ask them. And then one time it's like, oh, I wasn't thinking about nothing. It's like, yeah, we could tell. Yeah. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, so now think about fire. Now
Right.
dance fire. What does fire look like? Oh, wow, we can see that. That part, you are telling stories when you're dancing.
Yes.
You are speaking with your body. You're speaking to the wind, to everybody who can see you, to the animals. We feel you.
Yes.
Okay, so feel yourself first. Feel yourself first, and then let that come out. So
Yeah.
that's the connection to the ancestors.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So sometimes when I ask a question, like I'll answer it as well. But I'm like, I ain't got nothing else to say. You done.
Ah, okay.
But it's so true because our bodies does hold on to the cellular memory, right? And so through the movement, we can release the trauma. We can release all of the trauma, the pain, the guilt, the shame, all of that that's stored in there. And through that, as we're moving, we're connecting throughout to our lineage, right? The past generation. We're healing them, but we're also opening and creating that space to receive information from our
Ashe.
ancestors, right? Through movement, through silence as well, right? And that's why a lot of times when you do movement, like, or like when I do my workshops and things like that, I'll do the movements and then we always end where you integrate and you lie in stillness, right? To allow your body to now remember the healing that you've done, to allow for the ancestral wisdom to come out and through you, right? And it doesn't have to be in words, it can be through feelings, through sensations, just through, in so many different ways. So I love that. I love that. I love that.
That's very beautiful. We have classes, and by we, Belly Dancers of Color Collective have classes in the DC area, 4 classes a week, and they're hybrid as well, so they're available online. But one thing I often say at the beginning of class after we do our breath work is set your intention for your
Hmm.
practice today. They say that a lot in yoga. You don't always get that in a dance class, but we say belly dance is like a moving yoga. It is
Yeah.
a yoga for your body and your spirit, and anything that you do when you set your intention, you supercharge it. So we
Hmm.
supercharge our time in the studio for our spirits and for our booties and
Yes.
our minds, and set a powerful intention, and then we dance on that. Sometimes we even speak our intentions out and we dance on that. Like everybody's intention can also be ours if we align with that. Like, okay, I want that one too. Okay, yeah, and I want that one too, and
Yeah.
we magnify it. Like they used to say in church, when two or more are gathered, it's like that. Two or more are gathered, it's magnified. We're magnifying it to the thousandth degree.
Yeah. So let me ask you, do you think, and I think I know your answer is, but do you feel like dance movement can activate the Kundalini energy? And if so, how do you feel it activates it?
Absolutely, it activates it. The pumping motion of it, just
Mhm.
like the lymphatic system, it's a system of our body that's all over. But they tell you you should do skin brushing or cardio to pump the lymphatic system. Same with the Kundalini. Things are lying dormant in our body, like you
Mhm.
mentioned, guilt and shame and trauma and things like that that lay dormant in our hips and our back
Yeah.
and places like that. When we start moving it with the intention to release that, we can shake it out. We even say that, like, shimmy that out to the core of the earth. You don't have to hold that. Shimmy
Yeah.
that out right now. I don't care what happened at work today. Shimmy, brush it off. Like
Hmm.
get it off of you. So by the actual pumping of your hips, so what people would call twerking or things like that, you're pumping the kundalini energy. You can pump it forward, you can pump it back, and when you add your visualization, your powerful imagination, and start visualizing these things, it's a moving mantra. It's a yantra. It's all of these
Yes,
things.
I love that because the Kundalini energy, it does lie dormant, right, at the base of the spine. And so, as you were talking, it just made me think, even through the Taoist tradition, there's a sacral pump technique where you do that forward and back. And that's one of the healing techniques that I do when I work with women. Um, in private sessions, like I do ovarian breathing sessions, I do yoni breathing, I do tantric breath work, rebirthing, so many different things. So, because what I've done is I've taken my background as a psychotherapist, the talk therapy, and I combine it with the somatic body work, the tantric breath work, the Taoists, I even add in
Mm-hmm.
Taoism and work, because all of it work together. And that's
It
one of the
all
biggest
works
things that
together.
Tantra says. It's all
Yes,
connected.
it's all
It's
connected. The
all
weave.
connected.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and that's beautiful. So doing that pump, it is helping, that pump, that movement, that
Mm-hmm.
twerking,
Mm-hmm.
ovarian breathing, where we do movements with the hips, the yoni breathing, we're doing movements with the hips as well. That's helping to gently, slowly awaken that kundalini energy and activating that energy. And so, that's a beautiful energy that we do want to activate for our enlightenment. And when I say enlightenment, people are like, what is enlightenment? Like, how do I get there? And sometimes that, it's just really a matter of being present, being conscious, and to a place where you can be in this world and notice things happening and not react
Mm-hmm.
from a place of trauma, of pain, of hurt.
Mm-hmm.
I'm responding through awareness, through
Mm-hmm.
presence, through consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a beautiful place that we work on achieving and getting to.
Mm-hmm.
And when we get there, it doesn't mean that things aren't going to happen to us. Things are still going to happen to
Life be
us.
life and life gonna life.
Life gone life. But how you handle it.
That part, that part. That's beautiful. I
Yeah.
love what you talked about the nervous system awareness, and that's a big thing with dance too.
Mhm.
Many people are very sedentary in their lives, but if you love to dance, and I recognize dance ain't for everybody, but for
Right.
almost everybody, those who
Mhm.
love it is for it can be a powerful tool to
Mhm.
help regulate your nervous system and, like you said, awareness, so you can put space in between you and a kirk off, you and just losing your cool over different things. You
Right.
are more aware in your body and you're more aware in your spirit. So it's really a way of loving yourself. It's
Mhm.
really a way of, I said, we dance save lives,
It
like
does.
like my baby said, she ain't go to body dancing. Oh no.
I love it. I love it. Yes. Oh my God. And that's one of the things. You have three boys, right?
Three sons, three
Three
grown sons
sons.
now. Yeah, that baby I'm talking about is 23 now. So,
What? Oh my God. But that's the thing too. So I don't have any kids, but one of the things I love about kids is they help remind you to move. Because kids, they will find places and they'll start turning in circles, they'll dance wherever, they're moving, and so it's a beautiful thing. And that's one of the things that I love about Tantra. Tantra is always like be childlike, not childish, but be childlike. Remember that natural curiosity. Allow yourself to explore, to move your body and feel things in a different way, to move, to dance, to have fun, right?
yes,
Like movement is life.
movement is life. It surely is. One thing I used to love to do as a kid, we would have like a towel on our head. I know we was playing like it was long hair or whatever back in the day, and just turn around. We'd just be turning around. Me and my sisters, we have our arm out and just be, turning around, and until you get dizzy and then just kind of fall out laughing.
I
just
love it.
just that joy,
Hmm.
that joy. One thing for ladies to do and to allow yourself to do, to dance, really, it helps you to release the judgment of your body.
Hmm.
Okay, that's one thing that's healing about our belly dance classes. You come, and even if there are things about your body that you're healing and you like to shift, like Dr. Prandhara talked about, she was healing her fibroids and things early on with the womb movement of Queen Afua. She couldn't do that if she didn't allow herself to move her womb. If she was judging it as wrong or saying, I can't do this, all movement is divine, all of it. So pumping our hips, shaking your boobies, moving your shoulders, doing your head, pumping your booty, all of that is divine. Like our whole body, our whole temple is sacred. I wish more of us knew that. And when we know that and when we show that and we allow ourselves to flow in that, you feel the healing right there just by like, wow, I've been holding this. I've been trying not to shake my booty for 30 years. Like, let that booty shake.
Right. Let that booty shake.
Let that booty shake, please. We celebrate it, even as it's becoming, even as you're healing and losing waste. We call weight loss waste
Mhm.
loss. Even as you're doing all of that, celebrate where you are.
Yeah.
Celebrate each dance step.
Yes. Ashe.
Sure.
And it's beautiful, hearing you talk, it just makes me think so many of us hold on to so much shame and guilt. And if you look at so many different things cause illness or disease in our body. And so shame and guilt, specifically sexual shame and guilt, leads way to herpes, HPV. So if you look at some of the reasons for getting it, right, or having it, what you have to work through is shame and guilt.
Yes.
And so part of this is for anyone who has HPV, herpes, part of the work is let's release the shame and guilt. Let's connect to our bodies, right? Because I've worked with so many clients. I've worked with clients who couldn't have children, who's had herpes, had HPV, so many different things. And it's like, okay, where does that come from? And if you read, there's so many different books out there, like Louise Hayes,
You can
um,
heal your life.
you can heal your life, or you can heal your body. There's the body keeps score, um, body talk. There's so many different ones out there, right? And they'll tell you what the cause is, right? And so when you're looking, and many of those things are coming from
The
the
thoughts.
mind, the thoughts,
Yes.
the shame, the guilt, the anxiety, the stress. I'm not good enough, or I'm not deserving, or whatever it is. So we have to release those things. And through movement, I have a movement that I do of just shaking. Shake, 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 shake. And through that, you're releasing so much of that that's stuck in your body. So these things are so important for us to heal ourselves and to heal our bodies.
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. I will go even further to say all this ease is
Hmm.
coming from some mental or thought process that we're having in our head about something. And so
Hmm.
the books you named give us an idea or a clue of what is in our consciousness to be healed. And so through dance and through movement, even if it's not a whole dance like you say, just
Yeah.
shaking, but with the
Hmm.
intention of shaking that off is the healing that's needed. I want folks to really not underestimate the power of you reframing that thought and with the intention adding that to your movement to release it, to shed it, to move forward. That doesn't mean you won't have the thought again because you could,
Right.
but when you have it again, then you do the movement again, you do it again, and then you'll get to a place where you don't have the same thought. You'll be moving on to something else, and then you work with whatever you need to do on that respect. Oftentimes people say, well, it's hereditary, my mom had this or my dad had that. What's hereditary is the habits,
Exactly.
the languaging, what the food. That's what's hereditary. You keep passing those things down, so you're gonna have the similar situations. But if you do something different, then you'll have a different situation, and you're proof of it. You're proof of it. I'm proof of it. We have changed our family tree by doing some different things with our thoughts, with our movements, with our words, with our beliefs.
Exactly. And as we heal the past generation, the
Yes.
future generation.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's so yummy.
I know, right? I mean, it's beautiful that we can do that. We can do that.
Truly.
So, let me ask you one final question, and then we'll move a little bit. Um, let's see. What are some daily or weekly movement kind of practices that someone can do to reconnect with their sensual self, their sexual self, their spiritual self?
I love that. The first thing I would say is develop a conscious breathing practice. I recently certified as a breathologist, and
Mm,
in that breathology class was beautiful, and it really had me thinking about something that we do every day. We breathe 20,000 plus times a day.
Mhm.
but we do it unconsciously, most of us, but by doing it consciously, and again with setting our intention to oxygenate our body completely and heal. This was an interesting factoid that my breathology instructor shared. We release 70% of our waste through our breath.
Mhm.
That amazing? 70%.
Yep.
Like people would think it would be,
Mhm.
excuse me, through excrement or things like that, but it actually comes through respiration. So first of all, we're releasing the the shame, the trauma, the toxins, all of these kinds of things when we set our intention through a conscious breath. So if we're doing some deep belly breathing, so we want to move out of the shallow breathing of our chest, but moving our bellies to breathe. And you can add some sound on the exhale if you like. So I would say number one, take time to breathe consciously, to
Yeah.
slow your breath down and to center yourself and just tell yourself you're doing a good job and to thank your body
Mhm.
for getting you this far. Okay, so that's number one. The second thing we could do, and you named it, anybody can do this, is shimmying or shaking. Just and you can just we can do it here with our hands, just shaking your hands out, just shaking it out. You can shake your head up and down, but I would caution you to be kind to your neck, shaking your head up and down, and right and left, right and left. I do this in my meditation every day because I want the path to light up before me of what's for me. And the things that are not in alignment with me to move one out my way.
Yes,
So,
I love it. I
so
love it.
you love
Thank
that?
you. That is great. I love it. Awesome. Yeah. So for me too, like I'm really big on breath work. It was so funny when you said that. I was like, I didn't know there was a certification in breathology. Then I was like, I could teach that.
Ashe, ashe. Yep. We're all breathologists. We all breathe.
Right. But like that's one of the major things that I do in all of my sessions, right? So actually in Brazil, I did do two trainings to become a rebirther. And so I guess it's kind of similar to a certified breathologist. Um, it's called I'm certified in therapias de respiração, breathing therapies. It's in Portuguese, so I'm like, how do you translate that in English? I guess it's that breath, like
Breath therapies, yeah.
breath therapy. So I did a basic one and I did an advanced one. Um, so I just never thought about that here in the States, certification in breathology. But we did that, and that was part of when I lived in a tantra commune for 2 years.
Wow.
I did all of their certifications, and so I did those two. I did my tantra certification, learning how to be do tantric massage, um, sexual coaching, sacred sex and relationship coach. So I did like every certification they offered. I did it. um, and when you said that you did the certification of breathologist, I'm like, she's like me. You a studyaholic.
Yes. Yes.
Doing everything, learning everything. But I
Yes.
love to learn because there's so much. And I totally agree with you. Like if because I get a lot of people, who come to me and they want to work on their central energy, work with tantra, and people are like, well, I want to do tantra, and they're just thinking they want to be best at sex, and I'm like, okay, that's 5% of tantra. That
Right. It's
sex
so much
piece,
more than sex.
right? There's
And
a
we
whole
love sex. Don't get us wrong. We love that
Listen,
part too.
exactly. It's great. It's great, but that's 5% of it. And there's a 95% that's connecting to your breath, learning how to be present, learning how to have more intimacy,
Yes.
um, stronger connections and
Yes.
relationships. So it's a beautiful thing. Okay. All right. So, yes, I want to ask one more question.
Okay. I'm ready.
Yes, yes. So, what would you say for someone who's shy, who feels awkward in their body, or never dance, or maybe they just feel that shame or guilt? We were talking a little bit about it, but they feel awkward. Oh, so many people right now are saying this is demonic. This is the devil stuff. Yoga is demonic. Belly dance is too, its movement is too sensual. What would you say about that? Like, let's talk about that because we're getting so much of that lately, right? That this stuff is demonic for people who feel that shame or guilt or feel like there's something wrong with moving their bodies or just shy.
Well, that's a lot.
That is a lot.
That's a lot. I would say to someone, my heart is open to you. I understand everybody is where they are. For the one who feels that a way about it, I would say really examine where those thoughts about belly dance or yoga being demonic comes from. Are you saying that? Is someone saying that to you? Do you really feel that way?
Mhm.
If you feel that maybe is perhaps not so and you want to explore further, because again, whatever you say, you're right for you. If it's not
Mhm.
right for you, that's fine. We're for who we're for. But to come into a circle and to experience it, the opening and the beauty of it, you have to at least come in. You can't get it from the outside. You can't even understand what this magic is, judging it from over there. So to
Mhm.
come in and see for yourself. Now, if you're afraid to, again, then you are holding yourself back from your blessing. But if you're willing to take the step, willing to take the step into a studio or maybe even dancing at home with yourself at first, but it's nothing like dancing in a circle, a supportive circle of sisters, because
Yeah.
everybody's had a first day.
Yeah.
Everybody's walked in feeling away, not knowing anybody. I felt that many times. But
Yes.
to come into a circle of sisters and have someone hug you and say, I'm glad that you're here, and it's a no judgment zone, again, come as you are. It's a place where you know you can heal where you are to where you decide you want to go in this lifetime. Now, in terms of all of the religious jargon and things like that, those things have different motivations for why they're telling you not to move a certain way.
Mhm.
They're trying to control your
Yeah.
sensuality, they're trying to control your joy. Who does that benefit? It
Exactly.
certainly doesn't benefit you or your womb or any of those things. Look at how you're feeling now. Are you healthy? Are you vibrant? Are you abundant? If not, then your creativity could be blocked up somewhere. And that's in your
Exactly.
hips, baby.
Yep.
That's in
Yep.
your hips, in your honey pot. And
Yeah.
so, and it doesn't even have to be shared with anyone. You get to decide who and how to share these things. But you can at least unlock it for yourself and start to experience the joy and the pleasure that is right here in our birthright. One thing that was told to me, and I never believed as a child, but to hear that sexuality was sinful, I didn't believe that. I said, but we're born out of our grandmother's sexuality, our mother's sexuality. How could that very act that brings us all to the planet be so wrong? It
Right.
didn't make sense to me. I
Right.
always felt that it was spiritual. Didn't know how at first, but I just always felt that it was. And so I know that when I connect with myself in that way, I am literally embodying the goddess. I am.
Yes. Yes. And you hit on a good point, right? Like who does it benefit when you say this is wrong, don't do this, don't do that, right? And the thing is, I'm just gonna go there.
Go there.
I used I used to go to church. But honestly, a lot of it is about dominating and controlling you. And so when they dominate and control you and say, this is a sin, you're going to hell, this is demonic, it really is about that dominating you and controlling you.
If you
Because
can't move your hips, you already in hell.
you're already in hell. Like, for real. Come on. And it's like, and honestly, there are some good pastors. There are, I'm not saying that there's some bad ones. There are some bad ones. There are a lot of manipulative ones. There's a lot of good ones, who genuinely want the best for your soul. And those won't tell you that this is demonic. Those who really want the best for your soul and are good ones are going to incorporate movement, dance, and things like that, um, and energy work. And so when we think about it, when they can dominate and control you, whoever being, whether it's the church, whether it's the government, is for their benefit, right? So that they can get money. When the
Ashe.
church is controlling and dominating your mind and your thought process, You're going there religiously and you're giving them that tithe. When society does, and they're saying all of this stuff is wrong or whatever, it's to keep you sick. So you're spending money on the pharmaceutical companies and giving, spending that money. So it doesn't benefit them for you to be healthy. When when you're being dominated and controlled in your mind and you're feeling less than, lack than thereof, you're now, I'm overeating. I'm eating because I'm anxious. I'm eating this junk food because I don't feel good. I don't feel good in my body, which keeping you sick with diabetes, with high blood pressure, with cholesterol. Now you're taking these medications that's causing other side effects. So it benefits no one. It doesn't benefit you. It benefits everyone else. So
For
you
sure.
have to take your life into your own hands and say, okay, why am I shying away from this? Is it because, like Adina said, because people are saying these different things to me? Or is it because I feel a shame in my body? Now, where does the shame come from in your body? Where is it? Why is it that you're unable to let go and surrender? So doing that work so you could come in and move. And
Yes.
maybe you might do it by yourself for a little bit. It doesn't mean you have to go to a studio, but doing it in the privacy of your own home until you feel comfortable in your body. Then you can go to studio. Then you could come to a retreat. And it's when you go onto a retreat and you're with other people and you feel that energy and you're moving together, it's healing. Like Adina said, when two or more come together, you create a
It's
synchronicity and
magic.
energy.
It's magic.
Magic happens.
Yes,
And it's beautiful.
it is.
So, yeah. So let me go ahead and have you share what's coming up before we dance. So you guys, well, we're gonna talk about what Adina has coming up, what I have coming up, and then we're gonna dance a little bit. And you don't have to
Yes.
worry because you at home and we can't see you. All
Yes, yes,
right.
yes, yes.
So
No worries
share.
at all. There
Yeah.
is freedom in really taking responsibility for your body and for your soul. There's freedom in these things. Like we said, I'm the co founder of Belly Dancers of Color Collective. We are located in the Washington, D.C. area, specifically in Maryland. So if you are in this area, you have an open invitation to dance with us. We dance Wednesdays, Saturdays, and Fridays. I'm saying it all out of order. Wednesday, Fridays, and Saturdays we have class belly dance and yoga. All the classes have a Afro Caribbean style flair to them. So we're dancing to different types of music so that you can really find your flow to music that you're familiar to. We'll have some belly dance music and different things too, but it's really fun. Belly dance is African dance. A lot of times people don't know that. They'll say, "Oh, it's from the Middle East." Well, where's the Middle East? Hello.
Hello.
And what informed the Middle East? Hello, it's Africa. So
Hello.
again, this dance is our dance. It's already born in us, and we take it back, and we're able to do it however we decide. And there is a technique to it. So belly dance, if you're interested in that, do hit me up. You can go to bit.ly/belly dancers to see the schedule and also the website there. There is the Goddess Technology Retreat coming up in Bali, July 24th through the 31st. Again, a sacred deep dive into the feminine. We have 4 pillars: sacred rest, goddess consciousness, attuning with nature, and then just really rewilding ourselves. The feminine has been put in boxes. We're coming out of these boxes and just flowing and doing our thing. So I welcome you to join me in Bali, July or the first week of August for the Goddess Technology Retreat Bali. And then listen, if you just want to connect and talk, we do readings. We get into the breathology. We can work with that. We can work with your bagua, which is really understanding yourself so that you can be more personally effective, our work really is with ourselves. Oftentimes we're doing so many things outside, but when you work on yourself, then you will shine your light brighter and you will have your effect on the world, which is what happened to me, which is what happened with Dr. Prandhara as well. We were working on ourselves and look at us now.
Yeah.
Look at us now. Now we
Right.
work with our sisters and ourselves, still ourselves. I'm my own first client all the time.
Exactly. All the time. Every day. All
Every
day.
day. Every day.
Well, yes, go ahead and reach out. If you are not following Adina, go ahead and follow her on IG. Dina 1000. Go ahead and you could send a friend request on Facebook as well, and check out her website. And go ahead and go to her YouTube channel and give a like, subscribe, follow her because it's great. And follow both of us so that you can see when we combine and collaborate and do something
It's
great
coming.
together.
It's coming.
Coming. And so if you are not following me on IG, go ahead and follow me at Prandhara Prem underscore tantra, Facebook, Renee Adolph, and my website, www.prandharaprem.com. I too have a retreat coming up. It's going to be a little different. My retreat is January 27th to February 5th. It's a 9-day retreat in Salvador, Bahia, Brazil.
Love it.
Black Rome, Salvador. We are going to do medicine work, plant
Nice.
medicine. And so we're going to do the movement, the dance. We're going to do some Afro Brazilian dance. We're going to do ayahuasca combo. I'm not sure if you could see it with the light.
Look, I got
Combo.
mine too. Can you see mine?
Yes, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Combo sisters.
Uh-huh.
Um, Combo is a sacred frog medicine that is like a natural vaccination, builds the immune system. Maybe we're going to have to talk another time about plant medicine.
Yes.
So that'd be great to do. And we're going to have ayahuasca, which is drinking a dose of yourself.
Oh.
Okay. Ayahuasca, cambo, hape, cacao. We're going to be doing all of that. Those are plant medicines that's really helped me to heal myself, body, and soul, my spirit, soul, everything, right? It just helps me to connect to myself. And I want to bring this to you in the land where it's from, right? Um, in South America. You know, you can do it anywhere, but it's nothing like being in the jungles in nature doing this in Salvador and feeling that healing energy. So that's January 27th. That is on my website, www.prandharaprem.com. I do have many different things coming up. So follow me on Instagram. I'm constantly doing um, cacao ceremonies. My next one is going to be on the 24th of May. I'm also doing a hape ceremony at the park. Oh, these are in Atlanta. I'll be doing in Atlanta and DC. So just follow me so you can know where it's going to be. And I am actually going to be teaching. I've had people asking me to teach my rebirthing breath work. So I will be teaching that in June. If you want to become a rebirther, you hit me up, follow me.
Hey.
I will send you that information. So that is what I got coming going on. Follow both of us and connect. So we are going to dance.
Yeah, we'll do a quick little
Oh,
flow, have some fun. And again, no judgment. Let's just
yeah.
let our bodies move and enjoy ourselves.
Yes, allow yourself to feel. All right. How was that dance,
Oh, That felt good. It felt like some more.
I know, I know. It was so good. It was so
That's
good.
just a little taste, little
Yeah,
teeny tiny taste for you. Come on,
just to
move
tease
that
you.
body. Yes,
Yes.
yes.
So go ahead then and hit Adina up and go to
Check
some
me
of her
out.
classes.
Mhm.
It's hybrid. You could be in person if you're in DC or do it online. Our
Yes.
body needs some food.
Need she wants it. She desires it. She needs it. She loves it.
Loves it. Yes.
Thank you for having me. I
You're
really
welcome.
appreciated having this conversation with you. It was beautiful.
It was so beautiful. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much
You're
for being
welcome.
on my channel. And I'll speak to you soon.
Alrighty,
All right, bye.
bye.